I'm going to give you a whopper here. It's about what happened in Maui. Please bear with me. I'm going to tell you a little background story, and here goes. So yeah, do you remember when I was talking about how when we first moved into our house with a pool, there was no fence around the pool? And you know, this conversation, I always have to preface it because people are cultural. They do things based on what everybody else has always done and how all the neighbors and everybody has always done things. In other words, a lot of people think, well, this is the way things are because this is the way they are culturally. And that is to say, people would come over and say, you know, you're supposed to have a fence around that pool. Over and over, one neighbor, then another neighbor, then another neighbor. You know, you're supposed to have a fence around that pool. And being one that takes responsibility for his own life and his own actions, I didn't allow my children to run around the pool. We had very set rules. You don't run around the pool and you don't dive in the pool. And nobody in the pool unless there's another adult around. So we had specific rules, and everybody abided by those rules. Everything was just fine. We had no problems. But people kept coming around telling us you have to have, you know, you're supposed to have a fence around that pool. I did some digging and I found out who is it that requires you to have a fence around the pool. Well, it wasn't like a law, but they made it sound like it was a law, and they made you feel like you were a lawbreaker. And yet it was who it was the corporations, it was the banks. The neighbors were in debt most of their life, and their mortgage required they have a fence around the pool as a protection for their loan. Yeah, I found out. I got down deep while sluggards sleep. That's what we say on this channel. Dig deep while sluggards sleep. And so no, I didn't have to have a fence around the pool, but the neighbors sure let me know that you're supposed to have a fence around that pool, you know. All right, so I told you that story to say a lot of these places, they're so institutionalized. And again, I said, well, we weren't in debt, so we didn't have any such requirement, and it's no law. It's a law. The law is take care of yourself, be responsible. And we were, and had no problems.
There weren't any little children in the area we lived in, and we
had 3.5 acres. There weren't any little children wandering over from the neighbor or something that were going to drown in the pool. That just wasn't going to happen. That the institutions in Maui, and there's a lot more into the background of that story, but let's just stay with this part of it. The institutions, the insurance companies, have said they're not going to pay because the homeowners violated code, building code. Now, I've got a question for you. They sure took the money though, didn't they? They took the money for the premiums. So the money was good, wasn't it? The money, the premium money, oh, that was good. But when it comes time to pay, oh, no. You find a reason why we don't have to pay. Fine print. And that's that thing, that trust in institutions. And isn't that what the old republicanism always did in the past? Remember, I've been evangelizing and trying to help people open their eyes for almost 30 years. And things are changing. And now they say 80% of the people don't trust institutions. And so who buys a house? Who puts that much money into a house? And so the whole industry is a house of cards, and now they've been destroyed overnight. Overnight, they're just gone. And the institutions aren't there for you. Lo and behold, trusting in strangers. That's what an institution is. Test all spirits and hold on to that which is good, say the ancient scriptures. Test all spirits. But you think you can give such strangers money and you're protected. And now it comes out, oh gee whiz, we lied, but we're going to blame it on you. You didn't do something. That's why we're not going to pay. It's your fault. You see? That's where that psychotic criminal mind at work in these communist institutions. Okay? And there are not enough words of that kind to describe the atrocities that these people have committed. And he sees it all. And what we need to be thinking about is we need to quit trusting people we don't know. And we need to quit trusting strangers, and especially if they're holding out the little candy. Here's a little candy, it's free. It's free, just download the app. Scan your face, it's free. It's a sweet little candy, it's good for you. The same thing happened in Florida when those storms hit. And the insurance is so high in Florida that the housing is unaffordable. Okay? And so you've got an issue. They say they have an issue with so-called poor folks that can't afford housing. That's because they can't follow all the little institutional requirements, which are basically there to benefit them and not you. And it's a sad thing what happened in Maui, but it was just as sad over there in Florida. So I usually have a couple Whoppers, sometimes a bonus Whopper. I try to reconcile sometimes, why is it that I have the perspective that I have? For example, even years ago when I was a young man, I understood, not on an intellectual level, and I wasn't a Christian either. I didn't have knowledge of the scriptures, but something inside me hit me, and this is to encourage any of you that get the same thing, because eventually it led me to wanting to know the truth and reading the ancient scriptures. But when they started making car insurance mandatory, remember that when I was growing up, it wasn't mandatory. Oh man, the freedom back then, just jump in the car, go down the road. You get pulled over, so what? All of a sudden, after a dozen years, oh, mandatory insurance, say what? And so, but people are waking up now, but people didn't do anything, because I've had people say to me, yeah, it's wrong, but it's an inconvenience. In other words, well, I don't want to rock the boat, you can't fight City Hall, you can't, we've closed our eyes. And the thing is, peradventure, if there are 10 people, 10 good people in the city, will it still get destroyed? And I say there's way more than 10. It's just that they've been sleeping, and now they're waking up. What's with the fish smell?
Well, you're in a port.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Hey. That's a real snake. A real snake.
Yes, it's real. It's very friendly. It's okay.
But he's friendly. I don't believe that. I don't believe any snake is friendly. Oh, careful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm out of here.
I walked right next to her.
You walked right next to it.
Touched the snake.
You touched it. It brushed against your arm. Oh my gosh, go home and wash.
I'm freaking out. I am freaking out. I'm not kidding you.
That's crazy. What kind of a snake is that?
You know what? I was looking at her tattoo on her leg. She has a big tattoo on her leg, and that's what I was looking at, not the snake. And then I got up to the really close to her, and that's when I saw it.
Well, you were in my...
I'm afraid of snakes.
I know, but listen, with a snake that big, well, any snake really, but you were in my field of vision, and I didn't see her completely, but once I saw that yellow thing wrapping around her, I'm like, okay, that's a snake. Whatever happened to just having an iguana in your hand? Alright, so let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for coming to the video, and have a wonderful day.